Hey, what's up with my good people of the world today? This your boy Endo the Gang Guy, and I'm back at y'all with another segment of Each One Teach One. This is video 6 of my narcissism series, my 10 video narcissism series. I told you I was gonna drop. Now in the beginning, I talked about the love bombing. I talked about the trauma bonding. I talked about the demirroring, which was the deflection of who you tell them that your ideal partner you want. They mirror themselves or kind of clone themselves into being that specific person for you. But like I say, it's just a manipulation tactic, and that goes into the devaluation, the discard, the hoovering. I explained the flying monkeys and the casting of the spell, and the word salad. Now, picking up of where I left off at in video 5, I was explaining on how the family members, the flying monkeys, the auntie, the mother, and the sister came to me in the beginning of the relationship. Now, after about 90 days to 6 months, sometimes a year, depending on the type of energy that you supply for this specific narcissists, because they like energy vampires. If you lack motivation, if you lack energy, you lack strength, you're easy to drain. But a high energy person as myself, some can find the way to latch on and hang on for a little bit longer to drain you of more of your energy, depending on how much energy you got to give. And the situation depends on how long the relationship will last during these cycles of abuse. Now, starting over from the beginning, the love bombing, the trauma bonding, the mirroring, the devaluation, the triangulation is where I left off at with her friends, where they always have to have a third party around, or they always have to have a company around. They're always on the phone. It's just no peace in the house. Basically, that's the triangulating. Either they talking about an ex, or they comparing you to an ex, or they comparing you to somebody else at work. Those are all forms of triangulation. So be aware of that red flag in the beginning of some of these relationships that you're getting into with these narcissistic men and women. Now, I left off at the triangulation part with her friend, who I like I said, I suspected them of being involved sexually. I even confronted this situation on several occasions. Now, that is a manipulational tactic to keep you and that person in competition with each other. If I wasn't doing this, the other triangulator will do other things for it to win the attention of this particular person. Females do it, men do it all the time, where there's certain scenarios that you can go into where the female will tell you about her dad or about her brother, or it can be in the form of many people in this triangulation part of the abuse. And with that being said, they'll tell you, oh, my brother, he always buy me this, or my friend always, male friend always buy me this or buy me that. And it's a manipulation tactic to keep you in competition with that particular person or any other particular person. You be in competition, to make a long story short. Now, with the triangulating, like I said, we explained, we was at the bowling alley and, different situations where I was being triangulated. And like I said, at a particular time, this can happen to anybody. It can happen to the best of us. And I didn't know about the cycles of abuse because, we all get green, or we all could fall victim to anything. So just be aware of that, the triangulating part. Now, after the triangulating part, and me started to peel back the layers of some of her lies that she was telling me, and I questioned it. And when you question them, they go into stories that really don't make no sense, or try to make an explanation or make an excuse for it happening. And but it didn't make sense at the moment. So I was just like, being a little older than this particular female, I was like, okay, she might be just going through a stage, because I'm patient. I ain't no too much insecure person. So it was like I just felt that she was going through a particular stage at the moment, but not knowing the manipulational tactics that she, of a narcissist that they are using on a person like me who just, take things for face value and give a person the benefit of the doubt without casting any shadow of I just believe in the partner that I'm dealing with. Now, with that being said, it went from friend to friend. If it wasn't this one particular friend, it was another friend. And it came to the point where I started to question and ask, well, why don't you do these certain type of things for me when I ask, for them to be done? Now, the triangulation leads into the devaluation, where at some point where they can't keep the mass up for so long and it starts to slip. And she stopped cooking for a minute. The sex started to get a little scarce, which is a form of breadcrumbing. So breadcrumbing is when they shower you with all this attention, they shower you with all this love and affection, they shower you with gifts and things of the sort, and then all of a sudden they start taking those things away. Now, when they take certain things away, being manipulative, it questions, it makes you question yourself as to what did you did wrong, or is she seeing anyone else, or who is she giving this attention to? So those thoughts get to running through your head. It's quite natural. It happens to anybody. It's not a specific type of person that it couldn't happen to. Like I said, it can happen to the best of us. So with the breadcrumbing, you question it, like, why you stop cooking? Well, I was just tired. I was at work and I didn't feel like cooking today. So, I go out and get some food. And I didn't understand what breadcrumbing was until I started to study the disorder on my own. Now, breadcrumbing is a tactic that they use, and they start starving you of the full meals that you used to get, not just in the form of food, but the sex, the attention, the time being spent, and all of the above. And they started limiting the time where I'm going to sleep right now when they ain't normally their sleep pattern, or normally, the normal of the regular relationship that you guys were involved in. They start the breadcrumb. Now, the breadcrumbing, then you don't quite understand it, because you like, damn, why all of a sudden you stop doing this and you stop doing that. And then after a while, you just be like, fuck it, I don't even want it. And you accept that part of the manipulation, because, how can I say it? You just trying to figure things out, and you don't quite understand what's going on at this stage of the relationship, because normal people don't really do this. They reciprocate the energy, and they give the love that you give them, they show it back. In this particular situation, she started to pull away emotionally, sexually, and, all the different ways that they could pull back in relationships, if you understand what I'm saying. So at the point where I started to occupy the time that I wasn't spending with her, I'll do something else. I had plenty of things to do, so it wasn't no problem for me being breadcrumb. I was occupying myself with other things that was going on in the real world. So when that manipulational tactic, that when they do come back around and start giving you the attention, you will take what they give to you, because you have been starved. It's like a starving person. You feed them all this, then you start starving them, and then they going to the point where they're like, hell, I'll just drink water and eat bread. And then they start coming back around and throw little steaks around, throw pork chops on the ground, and you'll get the being like grateful for just whatever they give you. That's another form of the cycle of abuse, was the breadcrumbing. Now, the future faking is another stage of it, where they actually tell you about things like, well, okay, I just want to take a break for a minute. You do your thing, I'm going to do mine. And we could just be friends. Now, we went from a whole relationship to just being friends. And I didn't know. And she was like, well, I always stay in contact with you, and me and you can do this, do that. And in the back of my head, I'm like, damn, we done went a year or two, through these different cycles. And all of a sudden you want to be friends now. So it make you think like, okay, she got a significant partner on the side, or this, that, and the third. Now with the future faking, they promise you that things are going to get better. They just going through something. And an empath or a sympathetic person to be like, okay, I understand you're going through this at the particular moment. I'll slide to the side and let you do what you need to do while I do what I need to do. And hopefully it'll come back a full swing. But in reality, they have their eyes on another prize, or shinier nickel, or thinking the grass is greener on the other side, as we would say. Now, me taking her back and forth to work, for probably a year. She was never late, never stood out in the rain, never had to wait on me. I was there on time, because this is my girl at the particular moment. This is, my standard of me being a man to a woman, and this is just what, I'll do for my woman, should I say. So with that being said, the me taking her back and forth to work or whatever, it went into her being there for a complete year. Now let's go back a little step up, go to the step back where I end up giving her a laptop so she can, we end up getting the internet turned on at her new place. So she was able to fill out the application, ended up getting a job, and me being her, man at the moment, I'm gonna take you back and forth to work, drop her off to work, then I go to my shop and I'll do what I need to do and pick her up when she get off work or whatever. Now, over a year time, you got your work boyfriends, you got all your different types of, things that go on at the workplace. We all heard about them situations. I didn't know that was going on at the moment. And one day she come to the shop. We just so happened to be, into our little groove thing. And she, boom, boom, we end up going back to my place. And she fell asleep. And then part of me was just like, you know what, check the phone. Now, mind y'all, I just picked her up that day. And, so everything was fine. She jumped in the car with me. Hey, as things was normal. And I didn't understand it. So we go back to the place, listen to slow music, she go to sleep, and someone was just like, go through the phone. So I get to going through the phone and start seeing these series of text messages from a particular guy at her job. It wasn't nothing explicit talking about anything of the sort, and I know, what y'all gonna say. You go through her phone, you get what you're looking for. And I was looking for that because I was already suspicious of certain things inside, in the inside anyway, and so many inconsistent behavior patterns from her. I already thought that it was somebody else on the side that she given this attention to, which was part of the breadcrumbing and the devaluation, which we're going to get into. Now, with that, the next day, I takes her home that morning. She get ready. I end up taking her to work. And I didn't say nothing at the moment. I was just trying to feel the energy and feel the vibe out. So she gets off of work. I go picks her back up. She get off work. We riding. So I'm like, hey, who is such and such? So, and first reaction, I don't know what you're talking about. I just screenshotted all the text messages and all that. And I started showing her on the way back home. She flies off into this, oh, it ain't like that, this ain't that. But at first she started to lie, which was another part of her disguise, another part of her manipulation of tactics. And if I wouldn't have said nothing, things would have probably escalated a little further than what it was, or it probably had already reached that boiling point anyway. I was just getting aware of it. So that was kind of like another red flag. But I'm no insecure cat. I'm not worried about what's going on at your workplace. I know what I am, and can't nobody too much match that. There's some good guys out here. I'm not saying I'm the best person in the world, but what I had to offer, I have a lot to offer. So with that being said, that was just a drip in the bucket for me. So, but I kind of like kept my antennas up in the situation. So it went from that, and after me, busting her in these particular lies and, all the future faking and all of that, it went into another stage, which was the devaluation stage. Now, the devaluation stage, it starts off where they basically don't, I said in another video, they don't love themselves. So they questioning in their head, twisted mindset that if I don't love myself and I don't see nothing myself being worthy, he done busted me doing this, he done caught me in a few lies, she couldn't cover it up no more. So either they run away to go to another person, which she was setting her trail of tears to go to this new guy or whatever. And so with that being said, she already had, me on the discard level where she got to get other energy from other people, to order to move on as part of the narcissistic personality disorder. So in video 7, I'm going to break down the devaluation, the discard, and all the other steps of the abuse. This your boy Endo the Gang God. Y'all looking for my other videos on Striker Rich ENT on YouTube. And you can find me on Endo is the Gang God on TikTok and as well as Facebook, and Striker Rich ENT on Facebook. Like I said, my personal disclaimer, this is not based on Google or any other fact finders. This is just my personal opinion. And the United States Constitution, I have a right to voice my opinion. And y'all lay around for video 7.